Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Gloves Off podcast, the only podcast that got #1 at the box office this weekend. I am your host, or one of your hosts, Master Hand Games' very own Koopa, and joined as always to the Ivo Robotnik to my Sonic the Hedgehog, not Chris DX, Chris Elodian. What's going on?
That's me. Not too much, man. How you doing today?
I'm good. I finally got your name right on the first try. I think I'm
Hey,
starting
well,
to get. I'm
it's still pretty
starting
new, to be fair.
starting to get the hang of this. I don't like change. And I'm dying on the inside. So we're making progress. But what is any sort of combo without a trio? Joining us once again is the man from Connecticut who's been deep into Pokemon Sieges since we last saw him. Rumor has it he has not come up for air and is patiently awaiting for that new legendary Pokemon to be revealed that we can't get to play with. It's Mr. Ajax. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man? I can't wait to see just Incineroar in a different form with longer arms and like spiky hair. It's gonna be great. It's Mega Incineroar.
Yeah, that is something. So as you can see by what we got going on today, we got a pretty variety week of things going on. Obviously, the big topic being that Frostbite 2020 is happening this weekend, an event that I will be at attendance at, and I can't disclose anything more than that. But I just know I'll be there.
Honestly, same. I'm kind
Oh
of
yeah, that's right.
I'm in the same boat. I'll see you there.
Sadly,
I
not same.
wait. I know you're going. I had no idea you were going.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I don't think we talked about that.
Oh, well, guess what? Surprise!
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude, I'm streaming it. I'm like, I'm literally staying in like Gimmer's room and stuff. It's like a whole thing. It's funny.
This is awkward. Well, it's okay. Well, that definitely just
That's amazing.
rocked my world. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. I feel like we probably talked about it, but because both of us are so like,
Dude, I've been
intent.
Yeah, it's been one thing after another. Like I just started the Platinum Star Weekly last week, and I didn't really plan it out because I had Frostbite this week. So I'm like, oh okay, like I guess I'll just take a week off already. Well, not that I'm taking it off, but like yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. You mentioned that when you got hired for the job that you have to leave for vacation immediately. So
Exactly.
So Frostbite will be this weekend. Chris is apparently going to be there. I'm also going to be there. Ajax will not be, so I am 1/3 more sad than I was about 10 minutes ago. So
Yeah, I went through the roulette of emotions over these past few weeks, where it went from maybe to an actual confirmation to an unfortunate event that's going on with work that I can't avoid. So just wishing the best for somebody there, but because of that, I have to be there because
you got to be an adult. It's fine. We
yeah,
understand.
it sucks,
So,
but at the same time, what's going on is much worse than me attending Frostbite. So there's always next year.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also still the beginning of the year. There's definitely going to be a shit ton more of events to go to.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I can't disclose as well. So I'm actually pretty excited about this year.
That's poggers. That's some big poggers. But yeah, so we're going to talk a bit about that because Frostbite does fall in a weekend of about like 3 other events. So it's going to be kind of fun to see the. I imagine like when I look at the view totals for streams this weekend, it's going to look like that one game they play at like baseball games where like trains are racing on a jumbotron, and like people are like, it's like, oh, it's letter C is gonna win. It's just like, no, why are we entertaining this? They knew who was gonna win 6 hours ago.
Wait, what other events are going on this weekend?
I think let me look this up properly.
So there's Frostbite, there's DreamHack,
there's Level Up Expo.
All right, Level Up Expo. I forgot about that.
Oh, DreamHack is which one? I don't even know.
Anaheim, I believe.
Oh,
DreamHack Anaheim.
The heck?
Yeah, DreamHack is like DreamHack's weird. DreamHack just kind of pops up whenever.
Yeah, it really feels like
game
that.
Event, so it's like it just so happens to be like a sad event that both of them happen to be on the same day, but they have multiple games going on, so that one's at least not just two Smash majors who decided to butt heads on the calendar and go, no, you back down. No, you back down.
Yeah, I think whoever's mostly I think DreamHack usually puts out their event schedule like way ahead of time too.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, all right, if you're gonna it's just you guys kind of have to
Well, yeah, I mean
Hold that, I guess.
I actually don't really know much about DreamHack, but yeah, I mean it has like Fortnite. Apparently, there's Halo there, and
Yeah,
it's like okay, I get it.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
believe
it's a big
Frostbite and
esports
others too.
carnival thing.
Yeah.
So, um,
Interesting.
Yeah.
but yeah, this is
And
like I know specifically for this weekend. It's like there's like a big, like lap over of events that just all happen to be on the same weekend. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how the multi Twitches shit themselves this weekend.
I'm gonna be going nuts studying matches all weekend. Look at
Yeah.
like 7 monitors going.
Yeah, if you're real, you play all the streams at once with full volume on, and then just go full Bruce Almighty answering prayers at night.
That's an ADHD dream, right?
Yeah. But speaking of Bruce Almighty, as you can see on the screen, we will be talking briefly, spoiler free, about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie because I was one of the only people. I am the only person in the call that saw it this weekend. Our Hungry was going to join us. He did watch it with me yesterday, but he had to cancel last second. So we'll be going into. We'll probably do it at the end of the podcast. And then, as you can see, Summit happened this weekend. Another Melee Summit has come and gone, and this time with some big implications. So I guess we can. I just think we can probably start at Frostbite because that's probably going to be the quickest and easiest to talk about.
Yeah, probably. I mean, because we're in preview mode right now. Is all I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's easy to get through, and it's gonna be a fun time. This is gonna be my third Frostbite that I'm going to.
Nice.
Frostbite has a reputation for being very cozy. As with a bear mascot, you'd expect nothing less. I'm curious, Chris, do you have an attendees list up for this? Because of how the events are spread out, I'm not exactly sure like who out of like the big name people are actually going to be there.
Just a quick nod, since it happened to pop up at the beginning of the Smash GG page there too, while we're talking about reputation. I gotta once again just give another applaud and praise to, I believe it's DMG Alex, for the amazing trailers that he continues to make for Frostbite.
The Frostbite trailers stay on during sex.
They set a standard that just like Luther Vandross would be proud of.
No, they're crisp. They have, I think, whatever the trailer was after. I forget where it was. I think it was the "Let's Make Big Moves" trailer. There's a song that played in the background that was just like, oh my god, it was absolutely insane. But as we can see, a list of event people laid up here. So we got a big chunk of the people that matter here.
Pretty much just like the top end, like almost all of PGR's in attendance. That's pretty crazy. Like outside of, it's got to be at least like 30-ish members of PGR that are going to be there.
I believe the final total I saw was 35 out of the 50 are going to be there this weekend. So, and the one thing that Frostbite is always big for, it's a couple things. It's that Frostbite, caters a lot to side events. There's side events galore, whether it be low tier tournaments. Because I guess, another thing that came out is that a tier list, quote unquote, came out today. I don't know if you guys caught wind of that.
I saw that. Yeah, the voted. Well, not so much voted. The submitted. Oh, that's right. That's where the 35 was. They submitted 35 out of the 50 PGRU members. Their tier lists, and it was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a couple of things that everybody disagrees with, of course, but for the most part, it's actually gotten some pretty good backing, unless you're like a Donkey Kong fan, because they just want the character to be the worst in the game so they can get all the buffs.
Yeah, like it's because one thing that Frostbite does is they do like a low tier hero event where I think they whoever's like the highest placing, basically it's whoever's the shortest midget that makes it the farthest into the bracket is the one that usually ends up doing the best. So I guess in order to have a low tier a low tier hero, you actually have to like determine what is a low tier or not. So I guess they kind of had to rush to get that out. So that's going to be interesting to see at the very least.
Where can I find that tier list?
Go
Jash,
okay.
PG Jash, he tweeted it earlier.
Yeah, I actually like the way they went about it too, because not only do you have your tier list set up, but you also have a complete like safety net, because you have 35 people who are actual ranked players that decided to submit that. So you save from a lot of backlash. It's like, oh, this seems like an actual trusted list, so it's something that we could go along with.
Yeah, it's always important to have that meat shield So
Mhm.
like I think a big problem that like tier lists in Smash 4 had is that there's a back room of people that like you didn't know who was part of it unless those people like elected themselves forward. At least this time it's like, hey, we pulled the people that it's mapped that, understand it the most. So like, you poll the players, ask them what they think, and you end up with a top 5 that looks uh pretty accurate. I'd say Zero Suit Samus is the only outlier to me. Like I understand that obviously the meta's being kind of hard carried by one guy right now, so I don't know if, but
I'm
you
still a
can't.
Pikachu's #1 person. That's me. But
I am also in that same boat, but it's one of those things where it's like the card in Cards Against Humanity, where it's good on paper but kind of a mess in practice.
It's
yeah, and
interesting. I was just gonna say
okay.
it's interesting to see Palu sitting at like #1 there, especially despite the nerfs and everything. But I guess most of these opinions came before that. So
I think the main
Yeah,
reason. Oh, I'm sorry. The main reason why I look at it is just is she still amongst those like top 10 you see there outside of Lucina, the easiest for max reward to learn. Which is why I think people kind of trail towards that. Is also just not like she's bad, but I think that's why she was probably the most commonly picked amongst those.
I
yeah.
guess probably fewest bad matchups too. Maybe like if I'm thinking about it from like a top player perspective, and I'm just like, well, this character just loses to less people. Like that does kind of carry weight.
Oh wait, I figured it out. It's actually not 35 PGR players. It's Sam Sora and Mutace got a hold of all 35 ballots and put Palutena at the top.
Uh,
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, man, if you ever want to have a good fun time, just go up to Sam Sora and Mutace at the same time and say, hey, so why do you think Palu is better than Peach? Or just say that Peach is better than Palu and then get ready for a show. It's funny as hell.
It's just like it just like derails into like full Jerry Seinfeld.
Mhm.
It's like, what's the deal with Palutena?
That was a good one.
that was, yeah. He kind of like trailed a little bit. Like it was good.
Yeah, I've been working on it, but yeah, no, this is interesting. Like obviously, with the game full of that's ever changing and filled to the brim with more characters than you can count. You're not gonna get everything perfect, but that top 5 and top 10 in general looks pretty solid. So
Mhm.
I can't really complain. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. That there's actual one of my favorite side events is low tier events. So it's gonna be kind of fun to see that whole storyline progress because some of these low tiers are low key kind of spooky.
And so hold on, does the low tier start at D tier or just bottom tier?
I think it starts where Me Gunner is. I think is
Where
what
Me
Josh
Gunner
says.
is. Let me see where Me Gunner is.
So that's like right.
Oh, okay. So it's literally the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So according to him, that would be bottom tier. So it would include Me Gunner, Mewtwo, Dark Pit,
Katie?
DK, Corin, Incineroar, Bowser Jr., Bayo, Doc,
Bayo low
Isabelle,
tier. My
King
God.
Dedede, excuse me, Jigglypuff, Kirby, King K. Rool, Ganon, and Little Mac. I guess,
Oh,
God, this is
man.
gonna be the weirdest thing to watch.
I'm telling you, there's a couple of those characters in there that people are heavily well, not heavily, but they are sleeping on, and somebody's gonna cruise to a W with this tournament.
What character you think that
It's gonna
is?
be Rickles. It's gonna be Rickles.
With Ganon?
No.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Could
I
be.
think top 3 is going to consist of a Dr. Mario, probably Incineroar, and then who else is in that list there? I would say Mewtwo, but there's no Mewtwo reps unless
Yeah.
MKLeo plays. Because I think
There's probably gonna be some like out of left field person. We're just
okay. You know what? I'll say Rickles gets. I want to give him more because it's Ganon, and I want to have hope, but I'm gonna give him like 5th, and then I want to say.
I don't know if they're doing like an actual like low tier like side event or if it's one of those like
or if it's one of those like only X amount of people are allowed.
Well, it's like because I know the way they did it the last time I went in 2018, it was whoever was the highest placing with the character in that field like got like some sort of like prize or something like that. Because I think when I did it, it was the Japanese I forget what the guy's name is. He was a Zelda main from Japan.
Oh, if that's
it
the
was
case, then never mind. I throw my stuff out the window.
Yeah, I don't exactly. I'm sure there is going to be like a side, like an actual side event for it because I know Frostbite they posted their list of on-demand side events today, which is another thing that they do differently than other tournaments. Is that like at any given time you could be doing something and it's going to be a lot of fun. And obviously they're going to have stuff like the Alpha Rad casual invitation, which is going to be fun. I know they have a a side room with like Pokemon and TCG stuff. So yeah.
Sorry,
I
man.
hear a free W that I'm not gonna go get. I'm very upset.
Yeah. Yeah, if you listen close, you can hear the sound of Ajax's heart ripping into 18,000 pieces. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. Frostbite again not only has some of like the best talents stateside, but always has a very big Japanese representation.
Yeah.
VSET tournaments are usually really good about like incorporating just like a lot of foreign talent, and this is no exception. Also, there's the crew battle that's going to be happening this time, which is like that's like crew battles are kind of a thing of the past for the most part. Like there's that stretch of time in like 2016, 2017 where like crew battles were like all the rage. I think back to that first USA versus Japan crew battle at Frostbite 2017 that I think still has like over it has like a shit ton of views on the MVG YouTube channel. But yeah,
we also had the customized skins that people were doing too.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that made it a little bit more unique as well. Like there's you're right. Like all these side events really kind of just make Frostbite have that just super individual feeling. Well, even though it's still just another big venue, they really bring out like the most optimal feeling, I think, for having fun with this game.
Sure, for sure. It's going to be fun to watch. This is actually going to be my first time at Frostbite since they changed locations. Because the last time I went, they were still in I think they were in like Farmington Hills, like Michigan or something like that. There was at some hotel like in the like 20-ish minutes outside of Detroit. Outside of like the airport. But this time it's actually in like Detroit proper. I'm pretty sure it's like a half an hour away, so it'll be fun to watch regardless. And the crew battle's obviously happening again. This time it's like crews. It's like a sponsor crew battle. I think it's what I gathered. Is that like it's 3 reps from like 3 different teams or something like that that are going to be going up against each other. New Jersey's very own Rivers, aka Shoyo James, aka Can't Do a Diddy Infinite to save his life, will be taking part in the crew battle as part of the Frostbite Compendium. So he will be repping Team Frostbite for the crew battle alongside Meister and Zenodo.
Yeah, that's actually super cool. I don't even know. I'm trying to find that now, but I don't know how they made those teams, but I guess it was like sort of like random-ish.
Yeah, so the way that it works is that like just they are announcing like sponsored teams. So like Nevermore is going to be a part of it. Thunder Gaming is going to be a part of it. Some names that I'm sure
Right.
you recognize. So I think that that one team that a lot of the Japanese players are on, like R2G Gaming, is going to be repped in some capacity. So it's going to be. They basically just it's like, okay, here's 3 people that all just happen to be on the same team. Go ham. And James, I think the Frostbite team was crowdfunded. So James Zenodo and Meister were the highest placings people out of that.
That's awesome. I actually was not aware that that's how it was picked because I remember James Entity was going, but I didn't know it was just like that there was Compendium and that's what solved that. Huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was crowdfunded.
Yeah,
so.
I believe that. I 1,000,000% believe that.
Yeah, good for James. I'm excited for him. So it's gonna be a fun time. Obviously the big storyline here is that it's actually the first major tournament to run the new patch. So it's gonna be interesting to see how at least
yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna see post Palu nerf Nairo, post ZSS nerf Mars, post Joker nerf MK.
Wow, holy crap! I didn't even realize that we haven't had a major since the nerf.
Yeah, no, there's kind of a lull between last week and
Glitch. It was, I think, like the big thing. Or no, was there something after Glitch? There was something after Glitch. It was Genesis, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it was Glitch. You're right. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, Glitch, Genesis.
It's been a long couple days. Yeah, so it's going to be one of the big. What's up?
No, I was saying I think that's it. Just Glitch and Genesis were the last 2 and big ones, and definitely did not show up on those. So
really choppy for a second. What did you say?
Oh, there you are. I thought you just disappeared. No, not important.
Okay.
It's okay.
Here we-
Let's keep trudging ahead. Oh no, did we lose him? Are you,
Okay, hold on. I think I'm back.
okay.
Are you with
Can you
us?
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Please tell me
Sorry, my internet was.
your social security number. Let me know your common
one.
passwords. What is your bank account?
I don't want to do that. That's bad.
Okay, he's actually okay. He's here. We give it. We got him.
We got him. We got him. You good?
Damn it.
I'm good. Sorry, my internet was just lagging for a second.
Okay,
I think
cool.
Someone's watching Netflix, so.
Alrighty. Well, yeah. I mean that's like kind of Frostbite. I know Frostbite right now is it's like slated to be the biggest Ultimate tournament like to date, which makes sense. I mean the game's been out for just over a year, and this full steam ahead. I think as you mentioned the base set connection. This is probably more Japanese players out this time than I've ever been. I know I'm trying to figure out. I wish I could find like a list of the Japanese players. I just can't.
You know what? I'm sure there's a list of them somewhere. I'm gonna scroll on Twitter because there's one. If there's one person that knows, it's gonna be this guy.
It's the Twitterverse. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see it because one of the best sets of all time is one that happened at Frostbite with Sue and Zero, and you sit there and realize just the talent that they have for their like individual character representation. And we post patch, especially seeing some of those tournament events, is a reason why I was hyping up Dr. Mario, like in particular. There's just you never can truly peg what your top 16 might be when it comes to Frostbite, and I think that's probably what everybody loves the most about it.
Well, especially like this year, you said 35 out of 50 PGR attendance. Like, it's like
that was cool.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a lot of people.
And then there's still so many people who are on the unknown scale, like, are just still on the come up in this game. It's still very young, so there's a lot of potential for upsets. And I love it. I love seeing just the top end get just messed with and force people to have to play harder. I say this in every podcast, but it's because it's true. People need to be kept humble in order to get better.
Yeah. Amen to that.
All right. Well, we got anything else on Frostbite?
It's gonna be. I think we pretty much covered everything we can in the preview portion. I'm going to. I don't want to bet on anybody to win because any of the top like 5 seeded players can probably win the event. So
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know.
Basically, who's your favorite top 50 player? Basically,
I don't.
That's what you're
Whoever
betting
follows
on.
me on Twitter, that's who my favorite top 50 player is. All of them.
If I'm gonna, all right, so I'll try to take a shot at like. Actually, no, I can't even take a full shot at top 8. I can't think of all of them. I'm gonna just take the auto guess and play it safe of Leo, Samsora, Mars, probably Tweak, it being in there, and then some bias pick of Light and the other 3 with
gotta have it.
The other 3 being Tri-State.
You gotta have your monthly trip to the cardiac doctor.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, what's funny is that like not even just like a bias pick. Like he has been just so good lately. Obviously, having a few underperformances for his for his standards, but he consistently gets top 8s, especially after a couple of bad performances. And I think with the lull of those few tournaments, he's probably going to be performing in pretty top shape. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited to eat shawarma. That's mostly what I'm excited about.
Oh my god, dude! Can you guys just take extra shots and like eat like double the food for me? I am so angry that I can't go, man.
I'm just excited I get to like do shit with Chris again in another state. This is like Christmas to me.
It's so funny you didn't even know I was going in the beginning. I can't believe we haven't talked about this.
Yeah, not even gonna lie.
I so wish I didn't know because it would have been even fun to like show up and fucking see you.
That would have been pretty good.
little sappy moment real quick. In the great words of the Kill Sage, that's my shit. Like I am so happy to see like all of our regions just consistently getting out to more events and do it like just from being in the backyard to being at the main stage. It's a lot of fun to see.
I'm just excited for the new wave of people to get to see how handsome Chris is in person. So.
Hey.
Yeah, okay, we kept Chris locked up to ourselves for a while there.
It's like, who's this Adonis, Chad-looking ass motherfucker that's running the stream right
He
now?
just sits at computer.
You know what I'm gonna start doing? I'm just gonna find a couple screenshots of Chris working the stream, and then anytime anybody ever tries to say something about like, "Oh, Smasher smelly, man," or this or that, I'm just gonna put a screenshot of Chris just in the back doing all the work and just make him shut up, and
Yeah.
then not tell them that he actually smelled back there. But it's okay.
Yeah, that'll be my niche eventually, man. Just making the whole of Smash seem just a little less smelly and whatever.
No, bro.
Whatever other things.
Oh my god.
All we can do is pray. And bring extra,
It's
bring extra
Smash
deodorant.
Smell Laugh.
God.
God, I hate those tweets so much. All right, anyways.
Yeah. Speaking of not showering, Summit happened.
Yes.
Fiction wore the same shirt 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
knew it. That's who you were
That was
going
perfect,
to point out the
man.
moment you said that, and now I'm
Amazing.
dead.
Got him.
Yeah, my man literally wore the same outfit 4 days in a
Oh
row.
my god,
Dude, he probably bought like the economy travel and was like, I could only bring like no bags. And...
Look, like,
Ah!
look, man, I
Fuck.
understand the money struggles on the trips and stuff like that, but you gotta
It's
play it up a little
it's
bit.
rough. Yeah, that's yeah. You can't be doing.
At what point
that.
do you tell your homie that he's wearing the same shirt again? Like,
Day 2.
Yeah, I think you could do that on day 2 at
Like-
the end.
Well, I mean, if it's in public view, it's like, hey, so
I mean,
get it.
we're doing it now in hindsight, so it's like
yeah,
Oh man.
that was something. But yeah, so the next iteration of the Melee Summit happened this weekend. This is the least amount of Summit that I've ever watched, in which I've watched none of it because I was incredibly busy this weekend.
Somewhat likewise.
I just the top 3 consisted of Hungrybox, Plup, and what?
Mango.
Up again?
Mango. Or was it Lepin? Pretty sure it was Mango.
I'll just look at the Smash GG.
Yeah, please pull that up, 'cause now I'm having a memory loss.
Admittedly, I didn't watch much either.
I didn't watch too
but
much.
to be
One of my
fair-
favorite clips easily was Axe.
Dude,
Did you see that play?
I don't think I did. If you have it, you can
Oh
definitely
my
link
god!
me.
Please check it up on Twitter
Alright,
because
let's see
I'm
here.
more than certain that it was there.
Melee singles, I got it. Let's see. So it looks like it was Hungrybox, Plup, and Mango.
Okay,
guys hear me now?
I remember that right.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, sorry. Yeah, I was saying that I didn't watch any of Summit this weekend. So.
Yeah, we were agreeing. But yeah, so I mean, this is the problem, right? So, like, I haven't really watched competitive Melee, right? And like I kind of still don't, and I don't have any problem with it, but it feels like there's just so much there to to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But that it hasn't really changed though. Also, except for like I get isn't like Axe like on the newer end of like play, like I don't even know.
Yeah, the storylines aren't like that. Like contrived now. It's a little bit. It's basically a lot of like Hungrybox versus the field. Like I think the big storyline was like, oh, like Zane beat Hungrybox at Genesis. You know, can he beat him again? Because HBox doesn't like usually bottom out like multiple times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no.
And then there's some other, and then there's some other players like
I cannot find this clip anywhere.
yeah, and then there's some other like players in the mix. Like Mango's obviously still a threat. Leffen's a threat still. Plup has kind of had an up and down last couple months of Melee. There's some newer players on the scene that like I've always been good, but like never really got the chance to like stay good. Like Amsa was usually gate kept by somebody, but he's like a top 10 player now. You know, locally, IBDW, Foxmain from New York is a top 10 player in the world. So he's like one of the guys on the newer end of things that's been doing really well. The big thing I wanted to talk about Summit about is that what they announced after the fact is that we got a confirmation for Ultimate Summit 2 or 3.
Yep.
Ultimate Summit 3 is happening in June, I believe. Then I believe there's another Melee Summit happening in September, I think, is what I read. I think.
I don't
I
know
might
if
be-
I saw
Hold on. I think
two. I
here's
know.
here's the pin tweet.
There we go.
So Ultimate Summit 3 is June 11th.
Main
Stage.
stage.
That's the one you're probably thinking of. 2.
Yeah,
Main
that's
stage
what I was
2.
good.
That's October 23rd to 25th, and then there's a crossover summit, which is what I think you want to talk about.
Yes. So I wasn't sure if there was another Melee Summit or it was the main stage. It was main stage I was blanking on. But yeah, they're having a crossover summit, which is the first of its kind between Melee and Ultimate. So that's going to be interesting grounds.
So to me though, I feel like the crossover gets kind of limited to the like not even less than a dozen players that play both games at an okay, like I want to say high level, right? I do want to say high level, but it's.
So I don't know if it's like strictly a crossover between like you must play both games, or if it's just a combined summit that features
they're
both
just
Melee
happening at the
and-
same time and just there's a schedule, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's interesting at the very least.
I always like change is one thing, but new ideas are always nice. And the idea that they're going to try something with that crossover might do a good job at bringing both scenes together. Like one of my things with Melee is I don't usually ever watch pools. I only ever watch part of like usually finals because I like seeing the top players who have been really growing to get to the point where they are. But you don't really get to see too much of that on our side. And likewise with the Melee scene to Smash Ultimate. So kind of hoping that it's obviously going to start with the war on both fronts where people are trying to compare blah 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 blah. But I think with a lot like the interactions with not only Twitch chat kind of calming down hopefully over the weekend, but with the players, that it might start to bridge the gap a little bit because we are always at each other's throats where we really don't need to be.
It's such a weird place, and I guess this is probably a good time to bring this up. So like, Hungrybox winning Smash Summit 9, and then basically there was this whole big thing where he essentially asked Nintendo for, hey, like look at Smash Melee, it's hype, maybe give it a chance, give it some new life, and if not, like, there's still like the Ultimate scene, which is flourishing. Maybe you could encourage that, and essentially just I don't want to say calling out because I hate that terminology, but
that if it's I kind of want to use it for a second there, but like it's it's not necessarily a call out. It's more so just like a like he did say it very blunt, like, hey, you guys aren't doing anything, and we really would like you to because we've done everything in our possible power to make you realize that we can be a true esport. And I'm not one that there's a lot of shade at Nintendo because it's not like they have to do these things. I wish they did, but he's not wrong. Like, it's kind of crazy still that there's so many other games that have less, like a smaller scene, who have a much greater circuit because they do things like, I don't know, what's my favorite topic to talk about? Oh yeah, DLC skins. Like, it's just like the free principal money that could be used to support these scenes, and they just don't do it. And it's really, I get part of it. It has to do with the Japanese standards of the way things are run over there. There's no gambling, all the stuff. I do get that part, but it's not like they don't do it for other games. They do it for Splatoon. They do it for Pokemon. Even though they may not be at the like grand levels, but they do provide monetary support between scholarships and prize money. There's tens of thousands of dollars that go into these VGC events, and not a single dime that goes into their most competitive, lively properties, which is really just blows my mind.
Every time Ajax asks for DLC skins, we end up getting another Mega Man skin. So stay tuned for in DLC Pack 1 where we got our Mega Man Star Force skin.
I am solely... Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to throw some hate real quick. I am never, ever okay with when I have to repay for DLC for the same product that I already paid for in a previous
yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, so I am very cranky and refuse to buy like in the last game I actually bought me skins because I'm a like a collector. I need everything. I refuse to do it in this game because they've resold the same skins. The only ones I've bought are Cuphead and Sans, just because like they feel like a different character. But
And it comes with music and stuff.
yeah, and it supports indie developers, which is always a great thing in my book. But
fun fact, I didn't buy the pirate stage ship. They're the pirate ship stage.
I am.
And Wii U.
I'm so sad that it's not the same, because in the Wii U one, when you Omega'd, it had the One Piece basically background to it, and this one is just flat with nothing, and it kills me because that was my favorite Omega, and they took that away.
You hate to see it.
Sad boys. But yeah, so yeah, principal money, free money, DLC skins. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I think what everybody would want is skins that aren't me skins. But in either case, yeah, so Hungrybox basically is asking for developer support because he's like, hey, listen, there's a lot of people watching. I know there's a lot of people watching, so let me just throw this out there. And the reason I said I don't want to call it a call out is because this time it didn't really seem like aggressive or mean. It was more just like
yeah, it was a cry. It was more like an olive branch or something like that. It was weird.
Yeah, it was a very professional plea, if you want to put it that way.
He's just acknowledging the elephant in the room at this point, which like I feel like a lot of people are like afraid to talk about.
The thing is though, is like I think Nintendo, I don't want, like, they obviously, I don't want to say obviously, that's a strong word, but in this case it's a strong word, because like Nintendo definitely has shown that they want to do esports stuff, because as you guys mentioned, they have done things for Splatoon. There's like the whole Nintendo versus Twitter account, so I feel like they probably have some plans to some end, but they see, they're a big company, so they do it on their terms. I think the fact that they're just so tight-lipped about any possible plans, which, makes sense for a big business, is the tricky part, because, this isn't like a new complaint. Hungrybox has said something about this before in the past. Like, it's not like
correct.
This is a new thing from him or at all. So I don't know, man. I don't know. And I gotta tell you, and I know there's a big following for Melee, and it's great, and it's definitely paved the way for competitive Smash in general, like no doubt about it. And as I have the personalities in it, but it's just like, what do you do with that? What do you make another Melee game? Because like, what are you really requesting? Because I just can't imagine Nintendo already struggling to or not struggling, but just not really supporting the newer games to then go back to a game that's like more than 10 years old and just be like, okay, like we now support the people. Because, I don't know, it's been the same people in Melee for years now, and nothing wrong with any of them. They're all really cool personalities, but, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, Mango's just Mango. Like, what do you really do with that? Like,
I always have to jump back to 2 points whenever we, like, get into these conversations, just because, like, at first, though, I like to point out that I'm pretty upset that we don't get this, but at the same time, you make a very valid point that I constantly have to get into debates over. It's a 15-plus-year-old game.
It's old.
Like, it's not reselling anything. It's not pushing Switches. It's not pushing new purchases. Sure, it's getting a lot of viewership and getting the Nintendo logo onto Twitch, but like, what are they getting out of it?
Nintendo's on Twitch all the time.
Yeah, it's like, it's unfortunate for the Melee scene, and I hate to say it all the time, but like, there's really just there's no true draw for them to go back. I mean, I wish they would. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not saying that I don't want them to support it. I would love for them to support both, because I think supporting both would be healthy for their current business model, in a way, because it's still Smash. But like, if they're gonna do any, it would be Ultimate, and they do some. They've been getting better with like the European circuit, and I think they're really testing the waters with that. The online qualifiers for some events, like I know CEO Dreamland has a qualifier, and they had qualifiers for Frostbite. So they're making baby steps, but this is baby steps in a multi-billion-dollar corporation that can make much bigger steps.
Because like
sooner. So that's the weird part.
It's possible that they're just kind of waiting it out, because there's been more cohesive of a community with Ultimate coming out, and it's only been out for a year, so that's not very long. And to be fair, they probably weren't entirely sure what would happen over this year. And so to me, I'm like, well, if I'm Nintendo, I'll wait and see what infrastructure shakes out, and then when I decide I want to come in and make some sort of, I'm not going to say league, because I don't think they'd ever be that ambitious considering what their current contribution is now, which is essentially sponsoring a couple tournaments with the logo and, just basically extra viewership, which is definitely nice. But like outside of that, no big support. But either way, if I'm Nintendo, I'm still waiting to see like basically what I can either buy up or work with to do as least amount of work as possible and also make the most return. Because Nintendo, like, I don't know, man, they're a huge business. Like, they're working on mobile games right now. Like, I just think about like something like I still think back to this graph, like Fire Emblem Heroes making like 600, almost $700 million in
like
like in my
671 million or
dude,
something
that
like
is so much money. So it's like I think about the esports stuff, and I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, why wouldn't they want to do this? And this is emerging, but it's like it's not pertinent to them. Like taking advantage of like mobile stuff and conducting a business, getting that immediate return now is just more appealing because then at some point, like if they did want to start anything with Smash, they're just going to advertise through the apps anyways. So it's like it's easy pickings at that point.
Yeah, it's just like it just harkens back to what you said. Like Melee's an old game, and I'm not exactly sure how it functions on the FGC side of things, because I know that like there's still like an active tournament scene for things like, Third Strike and like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, et cetera, et cetera. But like a lot of that stuff seems grassroots. Like it seems pretty like
I think
to
it
my
is.
knowledge. I think the only exception I can think of is like or even I don't know, was the Curly Circuit even still like when MVC3 was on its last legs? Was that like still kind of a grassroots operation, or is that
Dude,
Wait, which circuit?
like right before Marvel Infinite came out, they had like the Curly Circuit for
Oh yeah, that
for,
was
for
that was all
NBC3.
grassroots. I don't think there was any involvement from Capcom in that.
Yeah, so
I
like,
might be wrong, but I remember it being pretty. I think I think it was like a pure Metrino thing.
this
yeah,
is
this is it's just coming off the top of my head because I know that at Evo they announced. Oh yeah, by the way, the Evo game lineup came out officially. Smash is back. Woo.
nice. No
And
surprises.
we talked about that a bit last time. I'm pretty
A little
sure.
bit.
Or we it was coming out as we were
know,
podcasting.
This is the eye opening. This is the eye-opening thing to me because you guys were just saying how a lot of the circuits that do exist now are very grassroots, and it's because they are. So, okay, so I can only really speak to this from like a production standpoint as someone who's made a business in it now and tries to do it or does do it professionally. I'm not trying anymore. I'm actually doing it. But anyways, so yeah, like I just think about the hardest part of setting anything like that up is infrastructure. Like even if you're a game developer, like if you're Nintendo, for you to have to hire on staff for not just like, making sure the game is commentated correctly, that's your guys' field, to just making sure that it's an actual production, because like that stuff is rare. A lot of people are willing to throw in the money and to get the things going and to just like get a venue, but like when it comes to actually running things and making sure it's like a marketable end product for people to watch and consume and market their games and everything else they want to do, like that stuff's hard. And the reason that my eyes have been opened is because like the official SNK Global site, and this isn't anything against the lab in Philly, which is like just like a small little place, but like SNK Global is promoting just a regular old little local there, which is just like a small thing, and it reminds me like, yeah, like all this is very grassroots. Even if the company is involved, like SNK, like it still doesn't do that much outside of like promoting. But like, because like, I don't know, I think about this as just like a regular bi-weekly little Thursday thing, like Rogue Yoshi, the Rogue Yoshi's Twitch, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, but yet it's going through SNK Global. So if I'm Nintendo and I'm like, well, okay, like all these people have high expectations and these tournaments are getting pretty big, like, I would think they probably do the research enough to know where they would jump in, but it's still a little convoluted, like unless you're actually in the scene. Like it's sort of like that.
Well, you bring up a pretty interesting point that I don't think I actually stopped to think about. I'm pretty sure I did at one point, but it's more so relevant nowadays. The fact that Nintendo's getting into this kind of slowly, it is still a business risk at any point in time for them to go diving into these things. And they also know, because we're heavily grassroots, maybe that's why it's taking so long, because they don't want to just hire on someone like not the point. Not to burn or anything like that on this one, but like jumping to like say Thunder Gaming, where they dived in quick, and first tournament was just really poor production quality, and it just kind of just had high hopes with next to no end product. I think what Nintendo is looking at is all of these events as they progress and picking out who is the ones we're going to trust most, which obviously they should already see who they need to trust most with like VGBC and others holding down the fort for so long, but they don't know them like from the being in the business office perspective. Like, can you guarantee that my game's end product and our name isn't like tainted or ruined by a negative feedback from Twitch or a very non-welcoming environment to families, because we at the end of the day are promoting to families, even though our community is mostly teens and above who don't necessarily have the quietest voices in
No, they don't.
the most tame voices.
Not
So
at all.
I get that part, and when I look at it from that, I can get a little bit more why it's taken a while, but
I think it's gonna
when
happen.
you have,
Like it's going to happen.
like you see like Bill Trennan is at locals and stuff like that.
Yeah, like they're
like,
figuring it out
like
still.
those little things matter. Like every little bit matters, and
Dude.
I know we want it now. Like it's getting there.
What was the Japanese event that Sakurai was at? Like
Evo Japan.
Evo Japan.
Yeah, dude. Like, come on. Like it's coming. It's
like
just
they're working. It's
I
getting
just think
like,
they have their
it's
pace. Like at this point.
It's just one of those things where it's like when you're the older game and you just kind of have to accept that the prize pools are not going to get much bigger than what you're already
Right,
with.
because what the people who want this to happen who are rushing this like, oh my god, Nintendo needs to do this, we need involvement, are the people who need that involvement from Nintendo, because they're like, I need more money, I need more attention around me. But Nintendo doesn't give a shit about that. They don't care if you get more money or if you get more attention.
It is a Smash problem. It's just that when that pot bonus or like dev support does come down the water well, it's going to be for the newer game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They're going to make sure it comes back around for them, because they need a new outlet to, advertise the things that make money for them. Like
this isn't Tencent throwing around like tens of millions of dollars. They're single base products that have a bunch of DLC skins that they're making money off of. But they, it's I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I literally can't control myself. But it's not where like their solo main focus is purely esports. They have so many other products they have to go for, and right now their only focus is, can we make Animal Crossing a successful launch? What's our next game after that? Can we make that a successful launch? And what's our next title after that? Because that is what pays the bills. Unfortunately, esports doesn't yet, but I think it's getting there. So
yeah, I don't know. I think about Nintendo like games, first party games a lot, because all of us in this call right now, and probably a lot of people listening, like we grew up playing those games, and they they were challenging to an extent. But if you've noticed Nintendo recently, things have become a little bit more family friendly and kind of caters to like our generation, which some of our generation guys, at least mine anyways, like they have kids and stuff. Like I would never really play Luigi's Mansion on my own, but I play with my 5-year-old nephew, and he freaking loves it. And guess what? I get to play Luigi's Mansion again and not feel like I'm just like, wow, this game's really easy and handholdy. I'm just like, okay, cool, I get to experience this Nintendo game. So I feel like when I think about what Nintendo's really doing and what their real goals are, it's just like, yeah, well, esports will happen, but like it's definitely not on the forefront of their thing. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. It is an interesting conversation. That's all.
I mean, it's going to be a topic of conversation. Like the more, the further we get along into, like we could be having the same conversation or a different conversation like 6 months to a year from now.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be a constantly changing narrative. But I'm glad you brought up the concept of family friendly, because that brings us perfectly into what I consider like the actual topic of what we're supposed to be talking about this weekend. So we did this when Detective Pikachu came out. We talked briefly about Detective Pikachu.
That was what we all saw at that time.
Yes, that was the movie that we had all seen this time. I'm the only one to call that a figure. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out this weekend. And it was #1 in the box office.
Hey.
So,
and also #1 video game launch of all time.
Yeah, it grossed like 70 million worldwide.
Wait, really?
Yeah, 70 million worldwide. I think 40 domestically.
Whoa.
It beat Detective Pikachu.
No way. That's wild.
It's also the first #1 movie in the box office that Paramount has had. It's like the most successful movie that Paramount Studios has made since Mission Impossible came out 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
I just picture the whole room of people making the movie just like cheering in the office, just like,
yeah,
guys, numbers just came in, and then just like,
I really, really, really hope that that this movie, I mean, just the fact that it came out just so good, it's getting great feedback, and a big reason why this all happened is because they listened. They actually,
Yeah.
for a change, a company decided to say, "Hey, we're not doing this correctly. Let's fix this." And they they went and fixed the design, and you can put your tinfoil caps on all you want if somebody's listening to this. But like, whether it was intentional or not, end of the day, the movie came out great, and I hope it sets a standard for people who are writing these scripts or producers who are like, no, I want my own vision. It's like, yeah, you have a vision, but also like, be careful because people will tell you that they don't want to see it. Like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah,
I
so
am
like,
super happy this did good.
yeah, so I'll go through the trials and tribulations as like the unapologetic biggest Sonic fan in the chat right now.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually a huge Sonic fan,
Yeah,
but I just no, no, I'm just kidding. That was a good trailer. But
yeah, but yeah. So the big thing for me is that when I heard that they were originally making, here we go. Just keep
Just in time.
Yeah, kick the gift horse in the mouth at this point. I was, and then so I obviously like pessimistic as a Sonic fan. I'm constantly in a state of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
mhm.
So I'm just kind of I was like, okay, like this is either gonna be awful or it's gonna be awful. So I didn't really have much else to go off because not only is it a Sonic movie, it's a video game movie. Those always come with the best reputation. But I even said this back when Detective Pikachu came out. I was like, okay, if this movie did okay, like it was fine, it accomplished its job. It was a fun family movie that was pretty accurate to the source material. And if you're a fan of Pokemon or a kid, you're gonna like the movie. It's harmless. It's a kids movie. So I was like, okay, maybe the Sonic movie won't be that bad. And then that first trailer came out, and I had the most visceral relapse of my life, and I was just in copious amounts of pain, and I think I drank a very large soda that day just to kind of cope with what I'd witnessed because that was just not Sonic the Hedgehog.
When you look at something or something happens to you and it's just so painful or hurts so much that you can't even cry, you can't even get sad. You just have like the most almost like chaotic just laugh like I'm gonna lose it because that was like a similar laugh that I had when I looked at it. It's like wow, that is an abomination that I'm staring at on that trailer. Jesus, I almost had it out of my memory. You do that to me.
I'm sorry. You can't forget, man. I mean,
Look how bad it is.
his teeth are the best part. He looks like it looks like in Jumanji, the first Jumanji, the one with Robin Williams, when the little kid gets turned into a monkey at the end, and he's got
oh my god, that is
he
such
looks
a great
exactly like him, like the way his nose pops out, and he's got like
I can't unsee
human
that
teeth.
now.
It's crazy.
I wish I could, but I can't.
It was just I couldn't do it. Yes. Now, granted, I don't want people to think that like it definitely set the precedent that hey, if you complain hard enough, you can get anything changed, and I don't want people to fall back on that. But in this case, this is one of those instances where okay, this was warranted because just look at it. It's like it's not even night and day. It's night and like an oil spill. Like it's two completely different things. And part of the reason for that is that the guy that they hired to spearhead the redesign, Tyson Hess, is like closely associated with the Sonic community. Like he went from oh Christ,
Oh god,
That's so funny.
That's nightmare fuel. Please take that off.
yeah, but yeah.
Holy,
So
good.
I'm so disgusting.
I'm gonna throw up all over. Yeah, but the guy that they hired to spearhead the redesign, Tyson Hess, was like closely associated with the Sonic community. He started off as a Sonic fan comic creator, and then at some point he I think it was a few years ago, he did the sprite work for the Sonic for the Sonics 1, 2, and 3 mobile ports. So he's like very closely associated with like the games and the lore And once I saw that he was the guy that was in charge, I was like, oh, we're in good hands. Because the redesign looks great. Like Sonic just looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah, he does look really good.
Yeah, if you ever want to like go back to when they first showed the trailer of the redesign, and he like just one of the most humble Twitter sprees I've ever seen out of somebody. Good, my God, somebody actually
Yo,
showed
someone
it.
did this. Someone
Somebody did
actually,
it.
yeah, I thought about it, and someone actually did it. There's the kid from Jumanji. Dude, it's exactly the same.
It's the same thing.
I mean,
Oh my God,
obviously
that's
repainted him or reskinned him blue, but
that's so bad.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
I can't look at
so
this anymore.
so going through phase 2 of my 7 stages of denial, I saw the redesign and I'm like, okay, this is cool, but the movie could still be bad. So I was my stance at that point was like, you know what, the movie could be bad, but at least Sonic looks cool, and as long as Jim Carrey is enjoyable, then I'll get something out of this movie I can walk away from. Not only did Sonic look good and was Jim Carrey a riot, the movie was actually really good. Like, there's definitely my non-spoiler review, just to kind of keep it quick, is that the movie. It's if you're a kid and if you like Sonic the Hedgehog, you're gonna find something in the movie to like. I think the one I think complaint I saw from people is that it's more or less an origin story for Sonic the Hedgehog, which is interesting because like I'm not going to spoil too much, but like they definitely harken back to a lot more TV show, like the TV show antics more than so like the video game antics.
I have
If
heard
that makes
that.
any sense.
Man, I don't necessarily dislike that, but I definitely was kind of surprised to hear that that's the route that they went.
Are we talking like the original cartoon?
Yeah,
He was very sad AM, if you're familiar with that sort of canon, like Jalil White era Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
or the
totally.
chili dogs.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like he's very slapsticky, and like the jokes are harmless. There's Jim Carrey definitely harkens it back to '90s Jim Carrey. Like there's a couple of instances where like like there's just a couple of things he did where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm watching Ace Ventura just 20 something years after the fact.
I was gonna go see the movie even with the bad design, just for Jim Carrey because I love Jim Carrey. He's one of my favorite childhood actors, and growing up all the way through. Just to hear from someone who's seen the movie and just like the general feedback that it's prime Jim Carrey, if not one of his. I've heard people say it's one of his like top 5 best roles that he's like performed in. That makes me super excited. Like I know I'm gonna laugh like crazy during the movie.
It's funny because like Jim Carrey's been kind of out of the acting spotlight for like the latter part of the last few years. He's gone on Jim Carrey like nowadays is like much more closely associated with like his open battle with depression. He's constantly taking jabs at the president in office and his band of whatever you want to fucking call them with his various political paintings. So it's definitely a different spin for what you're used to, but he definitely harkens it back to classic Jim Carrey, in the role, and truly, like, so it's not going to win an Oscar. It's nothing to write home about. It's a good kids movie, and it's a pretty faithful representation of Sonic. And my only advice to you guys is don't leave when the credits start.
Never do.
Yeah, there is a post-credit scene, so just keep that in the back of your mind.
That's exactly that. That's what I'd love to hear. I want to hear as much information about more to come from, and hopefully this means as like you said, the sad Sonic fans that we are, that we will finally start to get that the franchise will hopefully finally start to get the love that it deserves recently, because it's been a rough one, to say the least, in the kindest words that I could possibly put it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely not fun. Chris, are you alive? Are you okay?
Yeah, I am still here.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you were still with us.
Robotnik Smash DLC.
Yeah, there's it was just a really good movie. There's also like little like in that were just like the few Easter eggs there were, they were very enjoyable. It's just I highly recommend seeing it. Like Chris, I know you have nephews and cousins or whatever.
Yeah,
I need to
it
know.
might be worth for sure.
Yeah, you can take your nephews. AJ can take his son Paris. It'll be a
I bring my nieces. I just need to know one thing.
Son Paris.
At least one.
Yes.
I get it.
Does he eat a chili dog?
Yes.
I have.
Okay, all right, I'm in. I'm in.
I also have a question, just one.
Okay.
Do you see his feet?
I'm not gonna answer that.
Don't say anything. Don't say a single thing about.
I can't say yes
Any of that.
or no, but I'm
Nope.
gonna have to let you figure that out for yourself.
Okay, I'll take
It's
that.
definitely
I'll take that as a yes. By the way,
It's left up to interpretation.
Oh,
but
man,
I'm gonna.
That sounds complicated.
You know what? You're just gonna have to watch for yourself.
Yeah, I'll just for anyone watching, I'm just gonna go ahead and give the disclaimer: don't Google image Sonic's feet.
It's a bad idea.
You just don't want to see it. It's okay.
All right, so next topic.
Yeah, that's again. I'm excited for whatever potential video game news can come down, man. Because like the one thing I'm excited about is that because this movie was so like financially successful, which is really what the box offices care about, and also like, I think Jim Carrey has proven to be like he was having just a blast with the role. Like I want to see him continue to play the role of Eggman because as you can see, or Dr. Robotnik. So as you can see by the exactly, as you can see by the image that they tease in the trailer, that he does go full Ivo Robotnik at one point.
Oh my god, dude! I am
so
so excited for that.
Yeah, so like there's a chance you can see him do this like multiple other times. Like Sega has its own film studio now, and it's very strange to say the least. So I'm excited for my eventual Shenmue movie or my what was it? My Billy Hatcher and a Giant Egg live action adaptation. So that'll be fun to see how that works in the Sega cinematic universe.
As long as we get a Chow Garden miniseries that goes on before these movies, I'm in perfect shape.
Yeah, there's definitely it's weird. There's definitely some elements of like the more serious nature of some of the characters that's kind of left behind, but you can definitely see that there is a good amount of the redesign has taken forward. And also the human characters are also really good too. Like that's the one complaint I had about Detective Pikachu is that Pikachu and Ryan Reynolds were great, but like as a result, like the human characters definitely fail. They try to kind of force this like love story on you that doesn't really work. But I thought James Marsden was absolutely fantastic. Like him and Sonic have a great relationship like throughout the movie. It's like very authentic, and I feel so bad for James Marsden that he constantly has to be acting with animals that he cannot see because he was also the main man in between Sonic and Hop. I think I'm sure he's
the one.
He's probably losing his mind, and also his wife. I forget what the actress's name is, but she was also very funny too.
She's actually CGI too.
Yeah. You really do hate to see it.
They don't tell you about that.
Yeah, but my Koopa recommendation is I was satisfied out of 10. So definitely I recommend go seeing it if you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nice. Well, I will definitely take your advice. Although I think I waited for Detective Pikachu so I could watch it on an airplane. So it might be a little bit of time. Like when movies just eventually get to be like old enough to just view like the cool movie on an airplane.
That's how I watched Christopher. That's how I watched Christopher Robin.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the perfect airplane movie, probably.
Yeah, I watched that and Crazy Rich Asians on my last trip to California last year. So, both very good movies. Shout out to Parasite winning Best Picture. That movie was fucking great.
I still haven't watched that. I need to watch that.
Really good. Highly recommended. Yeah, I guess the only other bookending thing that I actually thought about while we were doing this is that Biddy and Zone, friends of the podcast, went to a Pokemon tournament over the weekend.
Yeah, dude. Me and Ajax were just talking about this before the show a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little interesting tidbit of information that I to Chris was the team that Biddy put together is actually a team I put together for him.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, like he made some tweaks to like the concept, but he told me he was just in passing through some tweets interested in VGC, and I love making teams. Like I just it's one of my favorite things to do because it lets me get really creative. And he just told me some of his favorite Pokemon, put them together, and he played out of his mind. Like I may have put helped build the blueprint, but he's the one who had the performance. Him and then Mezzi. Mezzi got top cut with his own team, completely unique from everybody else's builds. He played. He beat a regional champion, and he beat somebody else. I can't remember, but they were good. And then Biddy beat a very prominent streamer as well as a regional champion. While both of them being their very first VGC events, getting the 7th and 10th respectively. Like that's absolutely is so impressive. And Biddy just barely missed top cut by one decision that will change with experience.
So is anybody using Toga tomorrow outside of Mezzi? Is that like a common thing?
It's not super common, but he's definitely one of the people who has showed up at a mid-season or a regional and done well with it. Togedemaru is super good, just kind of slept on because this format is just so different compared to old formats where like you had like a top 15 and you kind of just stuck within that top 15 range and then only had slight changes. But with the way that the mechanics work in this game, anybody can be a threat. Like it's one of the healthiest. Well, I think healthy, but it's one of the most fun and unique formats we've had. And even with the threat of mid-season changes with dropping Pokemon like Incineroar, who will become the most used Pokemon for the next 4 months.
I actually have a question about that because I'm still like trying to keep myself like familiar with the meta stuff. So Pokemon Home just came out. So that means that you can transfer in Pokemon that were from like your older game. It's basically how you get your DS Pokemon into your Switch, correct? Is that how that works?
Yes and no. So you can transfer them to, but you can't use. Did I cut out?
Yeah, just for a second. You said you can transfer them to.
Okay, so it was saying is yes and no because you can transfer them to the Switch, but you can't actually use all of them. You can only use what the Pokedex in the game allows at the time. So
okay, so if it's one of those things where if it's a native Pokemon to the Pokedex, you can use it.
Yeah, so anybody who's available that are currently available are usable to transfer in. You just can't. You have to breed one that's to the Galar region in order to use it though.
Okay.
And then the Alolan forms of Pokemon that are in there for Ninetales and Persian and Raichu, those are going to be legal starting in March. And this guy, Caleb, this is the regional champion that he beat.
Nice.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the Alolan forms and some starters with the Kanto starters and the Sun and Moon starters, as well as a few legendaries with the Unova region Terrakion. I forgot the other ones, Cobalion and Virizion, as well as the main legendaries, but you can't use those in competitive. But with the DLC down the road, you were going to get access to more. So they'll be sitting into Pokemon Home until then, but it's completely shaping up the meta to become just very different because there's a lot of buffs to some teams that are getting just from these like 7 Pokemon and from like 5 new abilities. Like, that's how crazy the
and
Pokemon
how
can get.
Yeah, because I saw people are saying that Incineroar is kind of nuts now. So like, how is he like game breaking at this point?
So how do I simplify this the best way I can? So in a format that they gave you the ability to use 2 mascot legendaries, so like Solgaleo, Lunala, like a Mewtwo level, right? Incineroar was the most played Pokemon amongst all championship point qualifying teams by 75% use of all teams. Why? Because he has Intimidate, Fake Out. He's a Dark type, so he can't be Prankstered, which is one of the most powerful abilities. He has.
Wait, Dark types can't get Prankstered?
Nope.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Has that always been a thing?
That has always been a thing.
Oh, I don't like.
Yeah, that's always been a thing. He can't. You can't
prankster Thunderwave him, or you can't prankster Fake Tears or something, or prankster Charm to lower his attack stat. Like he's immune to all that stuff. So not only does he have some of the best move coverage now because he just got close combat with fire and dark stab, but he also has a fighting move coverage if he wants to go offensive. He has fake out, and he has, I don't know why they gave him this, a move called Parting Shot, which is a safe switch out that lowers the attack and special attack of the opponent. So not only do you lower both Pokemon's attack on entry, you also lower it on the way out safely. And then you come back in after you swap and lower it again, possibly. So he just cycles out a -1 repeatedly. Thankfully, though, with the way that this game works, there's a lot of nerfs to fake out because you can't flinch Dynamax. There's a lot of Pokemon that are immune or reflect in some kind of way, intimidate or stat drops, with some of them getting boosts to getting their stats lowered. And then there is a lot of special attackers that started to get a little bit more popular. So I don't think Incineroar is going to be as ridiculous as people are worried about, but it's still extremely good. Like a probably top 10 Pokemon all time.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
Incineroar, so I welcome our new Superior Overlord. He's been my new 3:00 in the morning character in Smash, so I greatly look forward to using him in Pokemon.
You know me. If it's somebody who's slow and hits hard, that's who I'm playing. So
yeah,
he's
so
definitely one of my pockets.
yeah, once I finally get my shit together, I'm gonna start actually delving into the Pokemon stuff, because to be honest, I didn't know there was an event that was gonna be this close to home this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's a bunch of them near
This
you.
could have been you, Koopa.
this could have been me.
And now it's Mezzy.
It was look at these. Look
Fun-
at him. So
Fun to okay, so he great interview personality. Did great. He gave up way too much information to the team in that interview. Like all of his unique tricks before top 8. So if there's one thing, Mezzy, if you listen to this at any point, great interview. Don't give up all your tricks before you win the tournament. Because he gave away a lot of info, not stuff that would be too crucial, but it was definitely things people wouldn't know without having to play the match first. So
Damn.
they don't ever the tidbit of advice if you want to get into this, Koopa. For one, I will gladly help you put a team together. I would love it. They don't fall for the trick of the people trying to be like, hey, so what's your main Smash? People are like, hey, so what's your team? Like, just something to put together.
yes. This thing. This old thing.
Until you get knocked out.
Thing.
Until you get knocked out, don't say a thing, because people will do that. Because in Swiss, there's a very high likelihood that not only will you have to play them at least once in that Swiss round, but you might have to play them again if you make Top Cut.
Who hosted this event, by the way?
Liberty Garden, I believe.
Liberty Garden. Yep.
Look, this could have been you, Koopa. Instead, it's Biddy.
I'm actually excited because I discovered a local that's sanctioned by Nintendo. And it's 20 minutes from work, so I'm gonna go there on Thursday, check it out.
Sanctioned by Nintendo, really? That's a thing in VGC.
Oh yeah, if you want to get official points for Konami-based tournaments or stuff like that, you have to be sanctioned.
So okay, so Nintendo's actively doing esports stuff, to some end a little bit. You could say.
That's what I was saying before with
Pokemon
Pokemon. Like they've been doing that for years. There's
there you go.
I wasn't kidding with the number. There's $10,000 first place prizes for some of these tournaments.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can't get a dime.
Oh yeah, Pokemon.
Wait till
Pokemon sends kids to college and shit.
So I don't know. So here's what I think. One last note on the whole Nintendo sponsorship thing. Aside from it's coming, is Nintendo has put its name on very select tournaments, including Frostbite, I believe. I don't know if that's still a thing.
CEO Dreamland recently as well.
Yep. They were in Shine for a bit. I don't know if they still are.
They still are.
Yeah, and there's a few others. So it is quite plausible that perhaps once they find out which tournaments are really legit, especially now the game's at peak popularity, you see which ones are which, where they do a tour like this, where there are qualifiers. But can't rush business process.
That's a very good point.
But it's they are spacing them out. It's very clear that they're watching. So I don't know.
Maybe Maybe that's why they did the European circuit first, because Europe only has X amount of majors, because they just
Yeah.
can't they only get so many going.
Europe's one of if you live in Europe, it's one of the hardest scenes to not only compete in because you're incredibly spread out and your tournaments are kind of few and far between, but
Mhm.
it's also impossible to travel anywhere because flights to get anywhere out of Europe are stupid expensive. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's definitely kind of rough, but I think that might be part of why they did it, because they get a test realm with what is only a few majors. Where in America we have 20 people trying to be the forerunner at the same time. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw any shots
No,
at
man,
anyone,
that's what it is.
but it's the way it is, because you can't disrespect the grind and the work ethic. Everybody wants to be in charge of their own thing. Nothing wrong with that, but
no, for
um,
sure.
I think that might be part of why they were so slow, because we've just got which one do you trust?
Yeah, we'll
Like,
see, dude. I really think something's shaping up. Who knows when it'll actually be shaped up? But I guess that kind of brings us to about our
Yeah,
endpoint. Yeah.
that's pretty much it. We covered a lot of ground here today, both in the concept of tournament ground, and Sonic covers a lot of ground because he moves.
mhm.
That's
Got
how
him.
that's how that works. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us. If you guys are looking for the fancy stuff, you can follow me on Twitter at Koopa NJ. Like I said, I may or may not be doing something at some capacity at Frostbite. I just cannot confirm or deny that,
What do you
Mr. President.
do?
So
You need a camera or anything?
what's up?
Do you need a camera or anything? Are you trying to do interviews and stuff?
I'll think of something if you have an extra camera line around.
Well, I mean, I have four at the moment, none of
Yeah,
which will
sure.
be in use. So
Yeah, sure. Take one. Fuck it. We'll do something fun.
cool.
So yeah, that's that. I'll be there. Hopefully eating shawarma. And Chris is also going to be there.
Yeah,
Surprise.
it's a surprise. Yeah, I'm running. I'm like what they call a technical director, which is basically what everyone else refers to as the streamer. Yeah, so I'll be doing that for VD Boot Camp. This weekend it's going to be a long weekend because I know the stream schedule runs from early in the day. We're talking 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. start times, going to past midnight. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, say some prayers for your boy over here. But yeah, so
Prayers up.
yeah, prayers up. So yeah, I wouldn't expect too much from my Twitter, but if at the moment, but you never know what you might catch. So if you want to follow me, it's at Crystalodian, but definitely follow at Master Hand Games if you're enjoying the content being produced by Master Hand Gaming. There are now 2 weeklies, a couple monthlies, all the fun stuff. This podcast, of course, which you keep up with, and if you enjoy it, maybe consider sharing it if you think it's cool. That would be cool. But in the meanwhile, Ajax, our guest today, do your thing.
Oh, hey, that's me. Yeah. So as usual, new Twitter handle at Ajax_HQ for those who are not aware of that yet. Go ahead and follow that there. I said it in a previous podcast, and they got a little bit of a delay, due to technical as well as some laziness. But there's some good projects upcoming that I can't wait to share. And if anybody's ever got any questions related to Pokemon stuff besides Smash, if you've heard my commentary, I'm very analytical in both. I love making teams. Never you go ahead and hit me up. But yeah, make sure you follow Master Hand Gaming for everything they do, because there's a lot of great things that go on in Jersey, and
Dude,
we wouldn't be where we are without you guys doing what you do. So.
Oh, I appreciate that a lot, man. I wish I could say more, but it's gonna get pretty spicy in Jersey probably in the next year or so. So
Heck yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. But I think
I always
it'll.
like to joke about that. If only people could see what goes on behind the scenes from some of the stuff that we talk about and get ready to go.
It's a little surreal sometimes thinking about it, because
Mhm.
I was on the other end of things when I first started in Smash 4. Actually, just for the fun of it, I tweeted today because Jack was talking about the start of the New Jersey scene and basically saying we've come a long way from James, or as you guys all know him now, currently as Rivers, formerly Shoyo James versus the Great Gonzalez, basically grand finals all of the time. And it is true, because I went back and I kind of just searched for that and this is what I found. I found like this definitely isn't all the results, but it's a lot of them. These are just tournament after tournament of James and Gons and like winners finals, losers finals,
My
grand
God,
finals.
we had that too with
everything.
Light and Ling Ling every single week, other than 1 week where Phantom went and beat them, and then Light went on a rampage and then won for like another year straight.
That's crazy.
So it's a chest that I don't know the feels, but it is awesome to see everybody grow.
It is for sure, but yeah, that's cool. So we'll see you guys probably next week. For anyone still listening, content this week on Master Hand's going to be a little bit not its usual, just because I'm going to Frostbite. Actually, well, it'll be today if you're watching this when it's released, but on Wednesday we're going early to set up for that stuff. So
I'm not leaving till my flight on Friday morning leaves at 6 in the morning.
Oh, ow.
Yeah, that's not poggers. So
That's
I'm gonna
not
be
poggers, dude.
Please, somebody find Koopa and get him caffeine or something energetic as soon as he arrives, as soon as possible. That's a PSA. Please protect the Koopa.
Yeah, just find me just find a bag of Himalayan Green Mountain coffee and an IV, and just put it in my veins. That's the only way I'm gonna be kept upright. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us this week. Next week we're probably gonna delve into Frostbite in depth, because by then there will be an outcome. And Animal Crossing Direct on Thursday. So I'm the only person in the room that's excited about that.
That's not
Did
true.
that actually get confirmed?
I love Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's on the 20th. They're doing the Direct. So.
Family
they're actually doing it.
friendly, man. Switch is probably the greatest console ever. But
I'm about it. Animal Crossing is great. Anyone that disagrees is a cop.
yeah,
so,
it's a really good game. Play it.
I actually have not played, so this might be my first time.
Do you like life simulators?
Um,
Do you like games like Stardew Valley?
I have not played Stardew Valley.
So
Have you played The Sims?
Okay, all right, there you go.
Yeah, it's like that, except with animals, kind of, sort of. That makes sense.
yeah, we'll definitely
Alright,
talk
yeah.
about that. I'm a big Animal Crossing fan.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's going to be it for us this week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys have a great evening, whenever you watch this, any time of day. And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.